welcome to the spot. I'm Tiffany.
I'm Lawanda.
And I'm Ron.
And today we'll be discussing The Chi, episode 8, Love Jones. And we'll be right back.
Wanna show you how I'm nothing like him. Swear that's the truth. You can't trust that.
Okay, we're back and we're ready to discuss episode 8, Love Jones. And I have to say right off that Love Jones is one of my favorite movies. So I was happy to see it. Shout out to Nia Long and Lorenz Tate. That's a Black classic.
Yeah, I saw that and I instantly went back to some days gone by. But I did enjoy it. I love the fact that they had that little clip. It kind of made me say, like, I think when we're done with this show, I'm gonna go watch it again. But
no, I am too. It's on Netflix now.
Yeah, it's on Netflix.
I've been watching it. I've been watching it on rotation on Netflix.
Yeah. That's a classic. That's why I was saying to you guys offline about Emmett. When Emmett called Kiesha to talk about Love Jones, I was like, because that's a boo movie, and I know she's the ex-boo, and they have a good friendship, and I'm cool with that. Men and women can't be friends. That's cool. But I was like, that's a show that I want to be booed up with when I watch, that movie. So
it's also a classic Chicago film. It's a classic Black.
I was gonna say that too.
But it's a very classic Chicago film. So I thought it was very appropriate for this show.
It was.
Well, and I like to take my hat off to Lena for actually coming up with this whole episode that was Love Jones related. I mean, you could see Love Jones all in every segment of this program. And, as I was watching it, I'm like, the whole thing is Love Jones.
It was.
And it was so, it was so tastefully done. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it a lot.
Mm-hmm. The stepper set, I liked how Emmett and Tiff reenacted the Love Jones scene. Even Kiesha and what is old boy's name? The dude she went on a date with. Do we know his name?
I keep losing it. Yeah.
I keep losing it. But they don't talk about him enough. And I know one of our, spotters are gonna get on us about that. We should know his name. I too kept, trying to figure out what his name is, but it escapes me at this moment. But I like what I see in him, and I certainly hope that we can see more because he's really doing Kiesha a good thing. He's got her on her feet. She's feeling comfortable with him. And I like what I see. This is a Black man that is doing it. He's doing it the right way. And I just hope he keeps it up. I did want to talk about Kevin, because Kevin, I think he really needs to give Lene a break. He needs to just cut,
Lene.
I think that's her name.
You mean Gemma?
No, the friend he discovered, and he went to her house. The new girl.
Oh yeah, he did.
Yeah,
he need to give everybody a break though, because he was sweating Gemma too. Like it was too much.
No, I mean true, but Lene's just not in his league, and I hate to say that, but she's not. Lene is really too independent for Kevin. Kevin's not ready for that. He's just not. I'm sorry, he's not ready for a Lene. So
she seems more mature than he does. Yeah. I would say that she seems more mature than he is, for sure.
Yeah, she seems like she's grown up the hard way, and she's learned a lot, and she's been around and seemingly been around more. So, I understand it. We men tend to go for the more mature, something, as we understand things. You want a mature woman. I got that, but she's not the one for him.
Listen, he's still heartbroken over Gemma. And what did I say like a few episodes ago about how some of y'all do? I mean, y'all on to the next thing. Y'all don't always take the moment to regroup before you move on to the next thing. Okay. And that's what he needs to do, because he still has unresolved feelings about Gemma. Okay,
I might take that butt whooping from you, but I'm gonna tell you, y'all do some strange things too. And this whole show, Gemma was like, Gemma was
tripping.
Oh
Yeah.
my God. I mean,
Not a fan of her anymore at all.
No, I was here for Aisha checking her the way she did.
yeah.
I knew you want to say, and I was like, I was clapping like I had to give Maisha some dap on that. I was like, okay, somebody needed to check Gemma.
Yeah. And now is the perfect time for Kevin. When she stood so close to his face after she got real jealous of what she saw, and then, she's all up in Kevin's face. Kevin needed to, hey, step it back. You got my boy now. And I like the fact that Kevin and Jake, they kind of squared up and said, okay, we're good now. And so I think now it's really important that Kevin understands the fact that, hey, he and Jake are good now. So don't play into Gemma's thing, because Gemma looked like she wants to be a ping pong ball. So,
I had a question about that. Does he really want her back, or is it more about ego? The fact that she chose someone else other than you, and he seems to have these questions about who are girls more attracted to? Would it be him or would it be Jake? So it seems it's more about being chosen and winning than it is really about having her back, because you could never trust her. Well, let me say that maybe he could, but I think it would be very hard for him to trust her, and if they were to get back together, like, how do you come back after that? Because it was so blatant and so kind of in his face, and it was brutal. It wasn't kind. It wasn't like, oh, I don't want to see you anymore, I'm not interested. It was like, oh, I'm not going to tell you, you're just going to see me with your boy. So I don't know that he really wants her back.
No, go ahead, Tiffany, because I want to hear your.
I feel like right now, because he's still growing and young, I think he has some self-image problems right now, because Lene, you heard what he said. Lene said he's corny. He said, you're too corny, you're not my type. And then last week, Jed said the same thing. He called him corny. And Kevin said to Kiesha, it's like, oh, you don't want to talk to the guy at the store. He said, because he's corny. Y'all want the bad guys. And that's the bad boys. I think that's something that a lot of decent men think. They say like, oh, you don't want a regular guy. You don't want a good dude. You want somebody who's going to do you wrong, or you want the more exciting type. And I think he is comparing himself to Jake. Like, Jake is the bad boy and he's the straight corny guy.
Let me cut in as a man and tell you what we learned from you all from elementary school to high school, because, it particularly in junior high or middle school and high school, what we learned is you all go after the basketball players, the football players. You all go after those guys that tend to be in the light, whether it's a negative light or a positive light. And, and as we know, high school girls, they tend to go after the bad boy type look and feel. And us little nerds, who bookworms that just, we're just loving the fact that when you do give us some attention, we just fall apart. And I think that's what happened to Kevin. Now, when I say us, I'm not talking about me specifically, of course, because this face, but anyway, I don't want to go there.
Oh, okay.
That's good. But what I'm saying is he's going through that male pride thing, and even when he got with his boys, with Emmett and Papa, and, he's talking about who do you think would win in a fight? That, not to say that he really wants to fight Jake, but what he's saying to his boys, and what he's trying to get through his head, am I as bad as Jake? Am I as good as he? Am I the type of guy that a woman would look at, a young woman would look at and want to be with, and those are the things he's going through. And so, yes, I think he does love her. And Gemma pointed it out, you're my first love. You don't have to be my last love. He's going to take a minute to figure that one out, because she is his first love and he's going to always remember her. So I think once he gets over that male pride thing, he'll be able to settle down and realize it was what it was, and it wasn't meant to be, to go any further.
Listen, no one likes rejection.
No.
So I think a lot of people do that. And I just meant, if something doesn't work out and say that person moves on to someone else, you're like, oh, why did they choose that person over me or whatever? And then I just think it just hits closer to home because the person she moved on to happens to be his boy. So why him over me,
Well, we've come to learn that, Gemma doesn't have what we call scruples. She seems to be out there and she really doesn't care who gets what, because if you think about it, when she got up into Kevin's face, after feeling embarrassed and jealous behind what she saw, Kevin dancing with that young lady, she was like, I mean, within an inch of his face. Now, suppose Jake had walked in at that time. What do you think Jake might have thought?
She was out of pocket. She was out of pocket because I'm just.
She does what she wants to do, what serves her in the moment,
Exactly.
And this episode was so good because, for one, it was the episode where the men got to talk and they got to share their emotions, and we got to see their vulnerable side. We got to see them actually choosing to be with the women that they love, which I thought was beautiful.
I thought so too.
It was a beautiful episode about Black love. I think one of the things you were saying about women choosing bad boys, I think you as a culture, we deal with a lot of trauma. And so people are trying to seek validation through other people, right? And so if you have issues with self-worth, you're trying to find that in other people. And so I kept thinking about this in the episodes as you watch the couples. And I think Maisha is the one who's really doing the work and saying, no, I'm fine where I am right now because I'm working on me. I'm trying to build me. And so I thought it was a wonderful gesture for Papa to throw at that party. Because he said, he was paying, the love is in the details. And so he was doing all that, but I think she was the one out of all of them, because everybody's having problems. Everybody's talking to each other, trying to get advice. But she's the one I see that's like very confident, very into herself, very much trying to figure out herself, who she is and what she wants out of life and going for it. We used to think that Papa was kind of the leader of the group, the wise one. But now I think Maisha is the one that's playing that role.
She is. Like I said, I was here for that whole conversation with Gemma. And I think it was definitely appropriate coming from her, another woman. And to speak on another appropriate conversation, I was happy that Trig put the bug in Jake's ear and said, what you did to Kev was wrong. Like, I was waiting for somebody to say, like, hey, that's not cool. You don't do that to your boy and everything. And I think that was the impetus for, Jake going to Kevin and finally like apologizing and stuff, which was cool. That was big of him to do that.
But he also clapped back with, how Trig treated his boy that, over Imani. And I like that brotherly type of, discussion, because it does happen that way, a big brother talking to little brother, but sometimes little brother can give you some insight that you might have missed. And I think
and that's true.
That was a good piece there. I really like that. And as you said, I think that was the catalyst to give Jake, that understanding that, hey, you got to make this right with your boy, because you don't cut your boy off like that.
The only difference is, Rashad was disrespectful to Imani. So Rashad put Trig in a position where he had to make that choice. If he would have been like the situation with Kevin, like, Kevin wasn't returning her calls and stuff like that. He wasn't, but he was in a place of, trauma and everything. He didn't deserve the Gemma and Jake situation at all. He didn't.
Yeah, those were two different situations.
Yeah, so for Jake to come back and say that, like, I get it, Jake. That's right. You make sure your own house is in order, like Emmett told Papa.
Exactly.
And everything. But it's not quite the same situation because Rashad was disrespecting his woman in their house.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. That what Trig did with Rashad was what had to be done. You don't disrespect my woman at any time, let alone in my house.
Yeah.
I don't know if it could have been handled a little differently, you know, and I think that's what Jake was trying to say, because whatever Jake said to him, he seemed to get it, you know. So, but hey, it to me, it wouldn't be a loss. You know, if Rashad is like that, he's always going to be like that. So, you know, sometimes it's better to take that loss, you know, take that L and move on.
I agree about that. The other thing that was tripping me about this episode was like Kiesha and the young man that she's dating now. I know it's going to take some time for her to work through the trust issues and stuff like that, but she was tripping about like, who are you texting and who was that came to the store? And I was like, that's what you haven't been on the first date yet, and you asking him about his texts, his question. And I understand that, you know, she's trying to trust him and she's been through trauma and everything, but I'm just like, when you are just starting to get to know someone and you haven't been on a date, you are already like, who's that?
But you know, it goes back to this being a tribute to Love Jones, because you know that was the fight that Nina and Darius got into about the phone calls about the girl Lisa. So I thought it was nice how they kind of wove that in there, because it was justified in the sense that he was just back there talking to her, right?
Yeah.
So pushing up on her, trying to get a date with her. And so I could see how if you have those trust issues, you have to say, wait a minute, you were just back here asking me on a date, telling me all this stuff, and now I see you with this girl. And I thought it was good that she was, for a person who has been violated and traumatized, she still knows how to advocate for herself. So I thought it was good because it wasn't disrespectful.
No, I don't think it was disrespectful at all. And matter of fact, like, shoot, if it was me, I would have been wondering, like, who is this chick? Because they look really chummy. They look really chummy and everything. So I would have been, I think I probably would have felt like, man, dude, what is my standing? Do I have the standing to say, like, who is that? Like, who are you texting? Whatever, when we haven't even been out on the first date. You know,
I loved it. I loved it. She didn't think twice about it.
No, she didn't care about her. She didn't care about her standings at all. But I think that, and when we talk about Love Jones, I'm not talking about necessarily the movie. I'm just talking about the Love Jones. You know, you can love somebody. I think she really likes this guy. And I think that she finds herself able to really want to be with this guy. And she just hasn't expressed that to him yet. But when she saw him talking to Chick, first of all, you line him up. You know, you go, okay, I'm lining her up. I'm looking her up and down. Yeah, she looks good. Looks like that might be his type, you know. And now that jealousy is starting to ooze in. And, you know, you get a little jealous. And then it's like, okay, you actually start looking at him a little differently now. See, so he went a notch or two up. Not, you know, not so much because of what he said. It's because she sees him and then she's got all these questions. She's interested, and she's more than interested, because she came straight out with, who was she? Oh,
somebody else might want him.
Yeah, you know, exactly. I mean, it happens in real life, and that's the.
I mean, really, nobody wants somebody that nobody else wants. I mean, it is what it is.
It is what it is.
You know, and
exactly.
I think they're cute. He seems like a good guy. I hope he remains a good guy. I hope we don't have anything coming out the woodworks that says that he's not. Because right now he appears to be a good guy, and there's somebody that's perfect for what she needs right now, and somebody who's understanding and thoughtful and just asking questions about, you know, making sure he's not violating her space. So I really appreciate that about them.
Yeah, it got a little funny for me though when they were in, I think, his crib, and they were dancing, and you know, and it looked like to me he was really feeling those moves that he saw Kiesha, you know, doing. And I was saying to myself, hold on, bruh, don't try to make a move yet, you know. And I was,
but glad. He didn't.
And he didn't, and I'm glad, you know, because I'm thinking that would have killed it, you know. But
yeah,
he so far, yeah, he's my boy. I like him. I like him a lot.
Yeah, so far so good. I'm liking what I'm seeing from him and everything. I, like you guys said, I like the way Love Jones was spread out throughout the episode. I liked when Emmett and Tiff were doing when they were stepping, because I know that is, you know, that's synonymous with Chicago, stepping and stuff. And it's part of the movie, the whole stepping scene with Nina and Darius Love Hall. And yeah, I thought this was a really good episode. I do want to talk about the Emmett and Tiff situation because we just touched on that.
But before we do, can I make a mention about Papa? What did you think about Papa approaching Dude when he was dancing with Maisha?
I was like, go ahead, Papa. I was like, he's stepping up for his woman. I guess he felt like because he was throwing this party for her and he was giving her flowers, that they would be like back on board. And Maisha was like, pump your brakes. Like, I appreciate you doing this for me, but we still taking space.
Yeah, that she put a halt to that real quick, but it was just kind of odd. I never looked at Papa as being having that kind of bravado, that he would step up to a brother like that, but I guess
no pump.
Apparently so. So
yeah, especially when it came to his woman, he was like, "Oh no,
yeah,
what we doing?" And in my face, "Oh no!" And I threw the party. So again, ego. Like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
So, but I do, like LaWanda said, I do appreciate how Maisha stepped up in so many ways. Like seeing her growth. Like, remember how we saw her from the original. The first season and everything. She has really grown. I even appreciated the conversation that she had with Kevin. When Kevin went to her to talk to her about Papa, she was like, look, who you think gave you your swag?
Right.
So I like Maisha and I appreciate her growth.
Yeah, and I also like that, as she broke down how she feels internally, she says, yeah, I know I give the appearance that I have it all intact, but, I'm going through some things too. I don't always feel like I am, that I have it all together. And I like the way she put that together, breaking herself down and understanding that, yeah, it's good to have all these, people singing your praise, but we all know that when we get those negative comments, sometimes we spend more time with those.
I was great touch on that. I was great touch on that.
Because no, but it is, that's what we do. We can get 1,000 praises, but that one negative seems to just, we hang on to it for some reason.
Well, it just goes to show, like, I felt it when she was talking about it because, as cool as the internet is and social media and YouTube and all that stuff, we're all humans. And then it seems like, when you get online, there's folks that, there's always some folks that have something sideways to say. It's as much positive as there is out there. It's the negative too. And it's just like some folks just, I think, take pleasure in doing that. And that's not cool.
No, and for some reason, our psyche plays more positives, and I love the way she brought that out because we get it here, we get it here, not often, but we do get a few crazies that want to come in and say little things and try to disrupt our flow, but we're seasoned, more mature people, so we tend to know how to handle it.
Yeah, but anyway, back to the show. I do want to talk about the Emmett and Tiff thing because that whole date, he went all out to do a Love Jones date for Tiff. Seemed like it was flowing. I was a little worried during the show, the comedy show, because I said, oh, this guy is heckling, heckling them, and he's hitting a little too close to home on some things. And I was like, this date's about to go sideways. But they recouped all the way up until the end. And I was like, wow.
But back up and talk about how she kind of set that in motion with the phone call.
Yeah,
when she's with Dante.
Talk about that.
Yeah. When she's with Dante. Now that was
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
sorry.
yeah. That was like, first of all, she ain't come home. She was lit as she answered the phone. And the way, Dante was in the background tripping, ad-libbing. It's bad enough they got this open relationship. But if y'all doing that, he needs to stay in his lane.
No,
You
really.
don't be ad-libbing in the back when you're talking to your husband. And he was doing a whole lot. I was like, he was really out of pocket.
Yeah, Tiffany went left all the way because first of all, he's home worrying about where the heck she is. And then when she does call, I'll be home tomorrow. He said, what? No, you bringing your so-and-so.
Drinking with this guy that's in the background, you hear, and I'll be home tomorrow. I was like, I don't know.
She violated. My namesake violated this week.
Yes, she did.
I'm Team Emmett this week.
That could have been a text. Because that could have been a text.
Yeah. And it goes back to what we were talking about, context and the conversation with communication and stuff, because all of this was set in motion because Emmett told her about about Dom, and he should have told her that it happened before they were married, and he could have said, since we've been married, I have not stepped out and stuff, because now she has it in her brain that she needs to have this safety net because she thinks he's going to cheat on her again, and she's trying to have her cake and eat it too. And I'm with Emmett right now when he's letting her know, like, no, we either going to be married husband and wife, or we're not going to do it at all. Like,
yeah, but I think that incident was instrumental in kind of really waking him up. That, okay, this has gone too far, because she was the call was extremely disrespectful.
It was,
because they had made an agreement that if they were going to be open, I don't see it, I don't hear it. And so she violated that. And so I think his response after that, sit and talk to Papa, sit and talk to Trig to figure out what he could do to repair the relationship, right? And so I thought it was real creative for him to come up with this idea of this date, because he could have gone left, but he didn't overreact. He came home the next morning, he made her breakfast, made her a bath, told her, you can get what you can get on the street, but you're not going to get the family situation. You're not going to get home. Okay, and this is what we have here to remind her of that. And so when they went on the date, we were thinking, okay, this is really nice, this is sweet, it's romantic, they're gonna get back at it, and that's not how it went.
No, and I was really proud of Emmett, because he showed growth and maturity too. Because I was like, most dudes, she would have not gotten any breakfast the next morning. I mean, it would have been on and popping when she came home.
Yeah, she got a different type of breakfast,
Exactly.
It would have been a break fast, but look, Emmett did the right thing, but I think with Tiff, and we discussed it a little bit offline, but as you were stating, as I brought up with Tiff, that she's enjoying this open life. And, I think that her feelings may be a little more involved in it. And you guys, of course, showed me the light in terms of what you all women are capable of and what you all are capable to compartmentalize.
I guess we have to reiterate for the record before Ron creates a narrative about being LaWanda. It ain't that, y'all.
No, it ain't all that. But, you have to put yourself in other person's shoes. What would she have done, had she been home waiting for Emmett, and this crazy loud young woman is in the background, saying all sorts of things while you're trying to talk to your man? It would have been the same thing. She would have felt a certain kind of way. So, I'm fearful with Tiffany because of the fact that as we see Emmett growing and maturing into this relationship, because I think he now realizes, after all he's done, and even with this open relationship, and we talked about it last week, and I kind of thought that as a man, the type of man I see Emmett to be, he didn't really want that. I think that when he went there, he enjoyed himself, but it takes a certain kind of brother to share your wife. Okay, just really does, or woman to share your husband, and for that matter, and most if you really truthfully want to be married, you know, that's not a good place to start. And I think Emmett discovered that after the party, and now realizing that, hey, I really love this woman, and this isn't where it's at with me. And you know, but Tiffany has gone completely left. So I'm not exactly sure, and maybe you can help me out. What does she really want? I don't, you know, I don't know if it's her cake and eat it too, or whether she's discovered herself in another way that maybe it might be okay for Emmett to walk away and let her just rediscover herself, because I just don't know. I don't know where it's heading with her. Comment?
You know, um, I thought when Emmett went to the sex party and stuff, he went along with Tiff. And when he got there, he kind of enjoyed himself. But I think he thought these are things that I can do with her, not me, her, and everybody else. I think he just was like, okay, this is a way for us to spice up our sex life. A thought hit me earlier when I was watching this show. I was like, I thought about that call from him to Kiesha, and Kiesha being the ex, and this relationship he seems to be saying, like, if we're not gonna be together as one in this marriage, then we're gonna be done. I wonder, would he tip back to Kiesha? There's history there. They have a good friendship. They know each other. I know Tiff and Kiesha are friends now, but it made me, that thought ran through my mind for a minute. Like, wait a minute, they might, like, would he go back to Kiesha? Could there be a dynamic that my Kiesha is trying to get to know, old boy, that now it's a situation with Emmett that, yeah. So, I mean, this is just me speaking. I don't know if it's going that direction or not. I just thought about it. The way it opened up with him calling Kiesha the Love Jones, and then by the end of the episode, he's saying, we're not going to be married anymore if you're not able to, if it's not going to just be me and you.
I kind of thought that same thing. I thought the same thing. Just because it was I'm saying intimate because it was an intimate moment shared between friends. This movie that we both like, hey, I'm gonna call you and let you know it's on. Yeah, I kind of thought that too, particularly at the end when he was, I think he'd already been contemplating that, because Ron is right. I don't think it's easy for you to share your spouse with other people, particularly when it's so blatant like that, and particularly when he's maturing into the man that she's always wanted him to be. She's gonna miss out on the man she always wanted him to be.
And honestly,
she is, because
but I don't think that he was really trying to tip back to Kiesha. What I felt in that regard is, sometimes you can be in a relationship with somebody and you're better friends than you were boyfriend, girlfriend. And I think
believe that. I don't think
it was intentional with the call.
No, right. I don't either. And that's what I'm trying to say. I don't think it was intentional. I think he was at that point where, here's the show and he remembers his friend. He and his friend, they love this show and he wanted to watch it with her, not so much to get with her, but I thought it was just, hey, we're friends. And that's what he took from that. Let's me and my friend watch this show that we so much love.
Yeah, I
don't Love Jones. I'm just saying, you love Love Jones like I love Love Jones. Like that is, I'm watching it by myself and I watched it with other people and stuff, but I like to watch that with a boo thing. That's a date night movie. And for him to, like, the first person you call is Kiesha, and not saying that he was trying to tip back to Kiesha in that point. I mean, let me be clear. I'm not saying that he was trying to hit on Kiesha in that moment. They are friends right now, but that is an intimate memory. I mean, pertaining to that movie,
it's a connection. It's a connection. It's a feeling of intimacy and closeness, something shared with someone. And when your wife is out on the street, you can call this person that you've had that relationship with, particularly one that you're really good friends now, that you're able to talk and express, and this person is getting to see the mature you. And so I'm with Tiffany on that I did think it was was like, okay, this is kind of interesting. That's an interesting phone call.
But I think you said it very poignantly. It is an intimacy that it is shared amongst those intimate people, but intimacy doesn't always have to be sexually related. And I think, and so I think what we saw, for this particular point, I think that he wanted to be intimate, but not in a sexual way. It's just that movie had such, brought back, had such memories for the two of them that the first person he would call, I don't know if he would have called anyone else other than Kiesha to watch that.
He could have called Tiff, because apparently Tiff likes it just as much as he does. Because she was like,
but but who knows? It may have been something that watching that movie with Kiesha might have brought him that even Tiff couldn't bring. It's just,
that's what I mean more by intimacy. I'm not talking about sex. I'm talking about that. I think the feeling that he's longing for now is, I want you home here with me. That feeling, I think.
I agree. Because it did seem like, because he was home by himself, it seemed like he was bored. He was watching it, and he was like, oh, let me call Kiesha. This is our movie. That connection. So so that was one thing that I was saying we can watch for. Maybe nothing. We'll see. There's 2 episodes left in the season.
It's always a way to stir up drama. It's always a way to stir up drama.
But I got a lot out of that last scene when Emmett goes to his knees to present, a bigger rock for his girl. And, he wants to reestablish the marital relationship. And Tiffany just isn't feeling it. Wow, that spoke to me. And the reason, so we know what Emmett had done in the past, and we know that Emmett has had a rocky past, but as we also know, he's matured, he's grown, he's running a restaurant. He's really trying. And Tiffany, to a degree, obviously you forgave him because you're still with him. And so I was just trying to figure out, where is she headed with this move, because she stands to lose everything. It's one thing to have a foundation, and then, you, as what we were talking about, she wanted to have her foundation, which is Emmett, but she also wanted to play and have Dante and whomever, whatever. I don't think she doesn't appear to be the type that's going to go man to man to man. I think she found Dante as her plaything, and this is what she wants. But is your foundation solid enough to have that plaything? And it's not. And I know she should know that. So is she really through with marriage altogether? Is that what we're seeing here?
Well, we'll see in the next 2 episodes, because she didn't really respond yet. So that's going to be key to see what her response is going to be. Is she going to say, okay, well, this is what I want, and I don't want the marriage? Or is she going to say, okay, I'm willing to recommit to this marriage? Well, so we need to see what her response is going to be.
I think. Go ahead, Ryan.
No, one caveat. I was just going to say, he gave her an ultimatum.
Yeah, so it's either yes or no, and we did not see her response yet, is what I'm saying. So I
think that the off-camera conversation that we were having was whether or not she really has feelings for Dante. And Tiff and I were saying, not in that way. We think, she likes him. She likes playing around with him, but it was more about security for her, because she had been so vulnerable with Emmett and him cheating, and her having to be in that position of the one who's feeling cheated on time after time and being hurt and disappointed with his behavior, that this is safe.
Yeah, it's a safety net.
The open marriage is safe. I can be with you, but I still have my freedom. In her head, that's what she's doing, because that she's making, for her, that makes it seem like if I just know that you're with someone, then I don't ever have to think about being cheated on. We're just gonna make this assumption that we're out here doing what we're doing, but we're still together. And that's safe for her, right? In her head. And so I think when Emmett is telling her that he just wants to be with her, she's probably still thinking, it's not that you don't want me to be with other people. That's what she's thinking. She doesn't really see that he's growing and maturing. She still thinks it's more about him trying to control her and lock her down and keep her from being out there while he's still out in the street doing what he wants to do. That's the thing.
She does not believe. She said, I've heard that before. So apparently he said to her before that it's just you, I want to be with you. And then he repeatedly cheated on her. Now I believe him this time. I do believe that he is committed to this marriage. But the thing is, like, now she done got this taste of freedom. She, you know, she's out there with Dante, and Dante has a little bit of money. We discussed that too. So she's doing things with him. She also mentioned a few episodes again about his head game. So she might be a little demonetized too. I'll say that.
Look, I'm telling you, look, she's bitten. Dante's got money. He's got a little emotional swing going on with her. And I'm telling you, this is not a good look. And in spite of what you all said offline, I still believe that she has, or she's getting emotional ties with Dante because of the very things we just mentioned. He's got a little money. He's treating her the way she wants to be treated, because she's out there now getting her newfound freedom. But you know what? Freedom costs. And I don't care what freedom you're trying to get, it costs. And is she willing to pay the price? That's the question.
I don't know. I think he was somebody safe to play with. I think he's a safe person to play with.
It might be, but that kind of freedom will cost you.
Yeah.
And I do agree with that. It will. And I want to, piggyback on what you said, since you referred to what we said offline. LaWanda and I were saying about, because Ron made the general statement that, women have, they can't have sex with men without catching emotions.
I didn't say can't. I didn't say
you said we normally don't.
You're right. Normally when women get into sexual relationships, usually they don't just get into it. There's some emotional baggage that comes with that. And it's odd to see a woman just get into a sexual thing just for sex. It's just a little odd. Now, I don't know.
I know.
Tell me if I'm wrong.
I mean, we were just saying that, and for the most part, you're right, Ron. Most women, I mean, that's how we're wired, right?
Right.
But women can also compartmentalize too. And even with some men, like this man is who I'm kicking it with, and this is the man I want to be with, or whatever. I mean, LaWanda and I were talking about that. Like we compartmentalize too.
Yeah, because she hadn't asked out of the marriage. That's the other part of it, right? That's why I'm saying that she's saying this is somebody safe for me to play with at this point in my life, because she hadn't asked for out of the marriage.
Yeah, she told Emmett a week or so ago, I still love you. She wants to be with Emmett, but she wants that too. I think it's having her cake and eating it too, honestly. I mean, I think it is about the safety thing. I think it's everything that you said, LaWanda, that she feels that she's protecting herself. But at the same time, she is asking to have her cake and eat it too.
But I think, the other part of it is that I think when women get pregnant and there's an automatic assumption that we just grow into motherhood and there are no regrets. There is a sense I have a daughter. I love my daughter. I don't regret her, but there is a sense of I could have done this too. Like, men don't necessarily or are not always as tied and step into the roles of fatherhood the way women do with motherhood. Your body changes, a lot about you changes, and a lot about you, I don't want to say giving up, but your life can take a different path. And so I think she's feeling that too, because they were young when they got together. she was always in a position of finding out and so about these other women. So I think this is about that too, about her making a different life choice, about her having control, about her getting some of her freedom back and some of her ability to make different choices, even within the marriage. I think it's about that too.
That's a good point. That is a really good point.
Wonderful point. I love it all. But what I see is a woman that's being by this man. Okay. I love the way you all articulate the fine strings of a relationship with a woman and how women think and all this and the I love it all. I love to hear it. But I'm gonna tell you what's really happening is Dante. Dante is more complex than that. It may be, and I hope that it is. But from what I see Dante is playing one hell of a chess game with Tiff. Because remember, he's wanted Tiff for how long?
Yeah, he has. He's wanted her from jump.
But does he want the package? It's not just Tiff. Does he want the whole package?
Exactly. I think he wants Tiff.
No, and you're right, but I'll tell you what he wants. He wants exactly what he has. And now that's going to be hard to give up. Okay. But that's why I said
that's not who she is. She's a mother. She has responsibilities. And so he's getting the free single Tiff.
LaWanda, let me go get my violin, because that's another very heartfelt statement. But look, a mother wouldn't be out there with some dude. She would be home with her son. So while she's trying to understand herself, let me go back to what I said. Freedom costs. Okay. I'm gonna park it right there. Freedom costs. And in my prediction, I predict that she has a hell of a price to pay for that freedom coming up.
I think there's going to be, I don't disagree with you. I think there's going to be consequences to this situation. There are. Do you guys have any other predictions?
That's the one I got.
Any other topics that we may have missed? Because we talked about, Papa, Maisha, Kevin and Gemma, Trig.
No, I think we kind of covered it. I do like the fact that it was all about the Love Jones, not just the movie, but what we get. We get that Love Jones, and it strikes us in different ways, but it tends to come around to just that. What we like, we do what we do, but we pay for it. We're going to pay, and a lot of people paid in this episode. Papa paid. Jake is paying. Because we didn't mention the fact that Jake saw Gemma eyeing Kevin while Kevin was.
So why you keep looking over there?
Why you keep looking over there? So that's going to be interesting if that plays out at all. But
listen, you lose them how you get them. I mean, there's a saying that they say you lose them how you get them. Like y'all foundation was shaky to begin with. So don't be surprised to see over there looking at Kevin.
True point. Absolutely. I got it.
What this episode I thought really drove home was the fact that, that love isn't easy. It's not cookie cutter. It's something you got to work at, and you can see that, with all of them, different stages of their relationship, they have different challenges. And if they want to keep it, they're going to have to work at it. So even the situation with Emmett and Tiff, I don't think all is lost. If she wants to recommit to the marriage and everything, they probably can do some extensive counseling and everything. I don't think, even with the Papa and Maisha, like, she's taking space now, but who's to say that, they might come back together, because I think Papa got the lesson about the, being in the shadow and stuff. That was the lesson that he was kind of taking, Maisha for granted, and she was playing the background instead of, he wasn't, he was trying to steal her thunder. I should say that. So I think he got the lesson. and they may end up back together. So yeah, love is work.
Lawanda?
No more comments.
No more.
Okay, well, it looks like we've covered everything. And if we don't have any predictions for next week, then we can go ahead and close out the show. So thank you everyone for watching the show this week. Tierra will be back next week. We will be covering Raising Canaan. We'll be filming that tomorrow. So be on the lookout for that. Please subscribe to our channel, click the notification bell so you can get all of our videos. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And I think that's it, y'all.
Fun. Had a lot of fun.
I had to do the snaps for Love Jones.
Let me before we go, let me say thank you, ladies, for my education. I was educated tonight. And I appreciate you. I really do. From the heart.
Yeah, I mean, you're partly right, Ron. You know, you're partly right about women and our feelings and stuff, but you know,
I'll take that part.
Compartmentalize too.
I'll take that part.
All right, guys. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next week.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Oh my mate. Hey, you made a permanent home in my head. You moving like a goddess, come my way, my way, my way. Your hips on the move, only a real one can do what you do. I caught a body, but you was the shooter. Damn. Shot me down one time. Now you wanna hug me down long time. Funny how the love can change sometimes. So we say,